Alright, welcome YouTube for another daily cast here. Sorry, it is the first load of the day, so you know the drill. It's gonna take some time here. And yeah, uh, right now I'm thinking about another way to proceed because right now Discord does not track anymore the game spawn. So this makes my job a little bit harder to find games to cast. So gotta find a way because I want to keep that going at least. Um, yeah, so probably no legend search anytime soon or any educational stuff if I don't stream either. It's a little bit unfortunate, but we're gonna live with it and I'm gonna try and see what we can do with that. But here we start at wave 2 here, wave 1 already done because of our loading issues, but that's totally fine. And everybody went for income early, except for MONX, who is still sitting at 3 income and is now sitting at 40. He does start with Pyro. Do have bounty, so two very slow starts here. We have Monks with a Pyro, starting two workers, and you have the Bounty Hunter Steed, very slow as well. You do have the Sky Queen onto Tyrion, picking YOLO also this game. And yes, sorry, I need to change the UI for you guys. Top of that, sorry about that. I'll get used to it. It's a bit new. Only did one with that, so we're gonna apply the changes here so it's bigger for you. And we also add that so that you have a reference to the account. Alright, everything is adjusted now. Next wave is now wave 3 here, Arcane and Nature, Magic and Nature. Only income sense coming up from Monks, Zarcs, and also GreenSpirit. So let's see how he deals with a 40 cent. I mean, he stayed for workers, only receiving a 40 here. He will be fine. Yes, the Serpent is not getting the lizard for some reasons. But it will still be a clear here. It looks like. The washroom is taking a lot here, but it is the warg who has the lizard on him. So that is still very good. And everybody is holding here. No problem. Tyrion going for income onto the Pyro. And what is the answer for Monks? It is a Warg. The Warg a little bit far behind. I don't think it shares the aggro here. Oh, but that Necomata should be. So let's see, Tyrion at 7 workers, feeling confident onto his Harpy. He would have died here to a recent, but Zarc doesn't have a lot of Mythium here because of his start. So that's the downside, you cannot pressure a lot of openers, so those openers can greed as much as possible, and that's the case of Sky Queen. If he receives 2 snails, or the T-snail here on wave 4, on top of the previous sun, then he would have died here by not having any front line, and that would have been very scary for him. But since the one sending to him is a very slow start, very low worker start, he is able to push that extra worker and not necessitate the extra front line before wave 5. Those are brutes still coming their way. And brutes can do a very nice job here, especially against the Wanderer and the Canopy. That's a warg. Okay. Graphic bug because we see it here, but yeah, we do okay. 80 cent in total going onto GreenSpirit. GreenSpirit going full income here, trying to catch Zarcs shifting. And he is not shifting, he did build the Butcher, and so he will be holding that. But let's focus on GreenSpirit, it's all about that Canopy here. If the Canopy is able to tank and survive, then it will be a hold here. They still have the wave of life onto the Warg, now going onto the Canopy. And now it's not a question of how soon does the Brute get targeted. The Brute is getting targeted now, and there's 2 Scorpions only remaining, and it will be a hold here from GreenSpirit, and only a very small leak here from Tyrion. And that's only the Brute. And this will be able to hold the Brute with the help of the Serpent, of course. And we do have income coming up from Tyrion and GreenSpirit. And now you have a net 4 worker advantage on GreenSpirit and Tyrion make that 5. And now you have Zarc struggling at 6 workers, and MONX has 6 workers as well. So Zarc does have a decent hope of getting the Kingpin next, unless he builds here, that's for sure. He will be overvalued, but this Bounty Hunter does not get anything from those steeds anymore. And so it will be quite hard for him to get the Kingpin, because normally he would get it either here on wave 6 or on wave 7. But looks like he will not get the money, enough money to get it. Looking at his income here at 47, doesn't seem quite well. So only income here. Yes, there were a brute recent onto the Sky Queen. Is it enough? There are 2 Rokos remaining, and one will go down. Oh no, just barely surviving here. It was one hit away from dying from the Sky Queen, and we will see here the leak from Tyrion, but will be held in the middle by GreenSpirit quite easily with the canopy. So GreenSpirit at 10 workers, while Zarc is at 6 currently. So 4 workers just from that, 2 workers between Tyrion and MONX. That is not looking pretty. And the reason why MONX is that low worker is because he's going for Pyro. Pyro quite weak on 7 and 8. So he has to play closer to value. He cannot greed as much as GreenSpirit and Tyrion in that department. We do have the Kingpin coming in. It did need to sacrifice one of the steeds. And you see him quite heavily overvalued here. There's 2 brutes going his way. 2 brutes is not enough to deal with the lifesteal Kingpin here. And so we'll see Zarc shooting up in workers now. Now, can he recover the income with that huge burst into workers? That's the question that we will ask ourselves here. And we will see more details here. I mean, the 2 brutes are still alive here, and the Kingpin is still attacking. There's a lot of units alive still. But I do think there's only the 2 brutes remaining, and they should be dealt with by the Butcher and the Steed. So it will be quite interesting to see. But it is indeed a hold here. The Brute is now attacking only the Butcher. No real danger whatsoever. And yeah, a hold from Zarcs, meaning that he will be able to full push now. But here, the mole from Tyrion, going onto MONX, who is at 8 workers, so he needs to hold that to have a chance to do anything. So what did he build here? Must be the Dark Mage that he just built here. And Dark Mage with Cat is quite good. But the problem is that the Pyro is tanking everything first. So we'll see. Apart from this Sun, there are only there's only Income Suns and King Ups on the other sides. We must say that the Income Sun here with the Dino is quite effective here. The canopy is dying here on GreenSpirit. But the most important is, does MONX diminish the damage done here? But looks like the Cat will not be able to survive, and the Dark Mage will be soon to follow. 67% going to the King, but will be caught up in the middle by Zarcs here. So 12 workers on everybody except MONX, but the income is definitely at the advantage of GreenSpirit and Tyrion right now. So the Kingpin is doing work on that wave, one-shotting every Cobras there is in this world, and will be able to fully cover in the middle. And yeah, so the game continues. Only 2 networker advantage now from GreenSpirit and Tyrion on 2 Zarcs and MONX. But now we do have the Kingpin operational. This angular positioning kinda strange, I must say to you. I was most expecting this one here, not the one in the middle, that's for sure. And Tyrion is pushing additional worker here, so in total we have a 3 worker difference between the 2 sides. And now, when the position of Zarcs here, with the Kingpin operational, you want to make use of that. So to make use of that, that's not the way. You want to push aggressively and cover your weak wave. His weak wave is currently wave 13, but he has the Holy Avenger hidden. So that might be the explanation behind the Angler positioning behind, because he wants to have the Holy Avenger right behind the Kingpin with the lifesteal. So the only send here, not enough to leak here, but it does enable Tyrion to push very aggressively here to 15 workers, taking 5 worker lead for his team on his own. So there's a huge worker discrepancy between Tyrion, who is sending onto monks, and Zarcs, who is sending onto Tyrion. So normally you would expect the Kingpin player to be ahead in workers at this current time, but he cannot afford to do so because GreenSpirit and Tyrion are saving on both Zarcs and monks, so this will be quite tricky. Because wave 11, we must say, there's a lot of assault, but you probably want to go sacrifice. But a lot of assault very good to get a killing blow, especially against something like a Paro. Also, Sky Queens, you just throw around out there. It is after income, of course, but you're still able to do a lot of work. Tyrion going for the Ghost Knight onto Monks. Kinda questionable, because it's gonna be targeted by the Sky Queen quite early. It is still auto attack, so it does take reduced damage from it, but still, piercing is increased by 120%, and then you reduce by 30% the damage received. So, I mean, yeah, it's still a decent tank for auto attacks such as Sky Queens, but I would say not the best. So income on both Zarcs and Monks, but killing Sen from GreenSpirit and Tyrion. So 4i here is just to what? So the 4i is to kill that Kingpin as fast as possible. He needs to add those little tanks. He needs to add those snails if he wants to go for a kill to waste some auto attacks from the Kingpin here. And he does decide to do so. Tyrion does add also some snails. But the snails are less effective here because the Ghost Knight is already getting focused by AoE units, and so there's a definite reduced in diminished result from those. But on income king ups here, the bigger send here onto the Kingpin player will result into a leak, and Monks as well is leaking here, despite the receipt of a Ghost Knight here. And that is a lot of king damage already. Here, very high king damage getting through them, and now the Kingpin is just, you've missed the spot. You completely missed the spot with the Kingpin here. You don't have any pressure anymore. So he needs to transition into the Holy Avenger as soon as possible and make it work for whatever manner he can. So APS here, because the Sovereign will be there. He is quite weak on 15. What about his teammate? Quite weak on 15. So we're gonna see GreenSpirit and Tyrion pushing heavily, but are still looking on value. 115, 160. They have no more gold to spend. So probably a 13 income sent onto a 15 ending should be their play. If we look at this correctly, or they could just, yeah, they could just try for wave 13 right away. They don't know about the Sovereign here from Zarcs. Oh wait, really? Oh, you can ping that. All right, interesting. And so no sends yet. I do expect them to come though. The sends, that is. The income sends from Zarcs and Monks are coming. Income. Oh no, that's a breaking. They are going for the break here. We don't have the strongest of units. You don't see the Sovereign. The Sovereign is not even being able to be built here from Zarcs, missing somewhere around 170 gold, 160, something like that. So Zarcs going for income, Monk's deciding that he does not need uh, such a trivial thing as income, and he's not sending with Zarcs here. Tyrion will full send here, probably waiting for the pack leader. Very close. Yes, he is. And so 260 onto Tyrion will be, uh, should be, it should be held at least. On the side of Zarcs, it's all dependent on those all the Avengers. So there's one down already. The other one is getting focused as well, and now getting focused by the 4. That is a very, very bad for Zarcs, and it will be indeed a leak here on Zarcs. It will also be a leak on MONX, and Tyrion leaking as well. Leaking as well with, yeah, pretty much only the Sky Queen has damage. So we do have the 4 going to the king. 4 golems also should be close to game here. If not game, there's not a lot of king HP left here to work with. And we will see indeed the game going for GreenSpirit and Tyrion. The green dwarfs. Hello? King? Die? Maybe? Yeah. Then we have the green dwarf taking it against Tyrion. Against Zarcs and monks. So what was the turning point? I mean, what didn't help them is that they had a pyro start that started with 2 workers and was forced to stay very low workers as well because they got long saved. So yeah, so staying at 6 worker here, still with 6, still fine for the Kingpin, but you need to make something happen, and you just kept income sending. Yeah, you need to get back the gold you've lost, let's say from the income. So you need to accelerate your worker count, and when you're a Kingpin player and you have the lowest amount of workers and you're still leaking, it tells you a little bit of how the role is very hard to make work in those with 11 and 13 cents. But we must admit that the leaks from Zarcs weren't that bad. Truth is, Tyrion was leaking quite a lot, but those were his weakest wave when he leaked like 13. It's a known weak wave with Sky Queen, especially if you have uh, pretty much the not the well fortified defense, let's say, because you need enough defense to hold off everything, but you also need enough damage to kill the wave that damages your tank units. So stuff like that are very important to keep in mind. And on that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching, and see you next time.